Welcome! Thank you for joining me today. My name is Luke Sikora, founder and president here at Ark Roofer, and I'm excited to let you know what to expect when choosing to get a full roof replacement with Ark Roofer. So we have a checklist for both of us, one for you and one for us, and we're going to go over that right now. We need to get inside your attic and learn more about how it's operating, how it's breathing through the active and passive ventilation system, okay? We want to make sure that any air conditioning refrigerant lines are 2 inches away from the roof deck so that when we're putting in and installing new fasteners through the roof deck, we don't accidentally penetrate something that might have been out of code. And so you'll see the picture on the left showing that it's at least 2 inches away, and we've got clarity on that. And on the right side, it was touching the actual plywood, and that's the refrigerant line. You don't want to get your roof done in the summer here in Austin or Dallas, Texas area and have us hit your refrigerant line, because then you won't have air conditioning for possibly up to 2 or 3 days while we have an emergency repair come out. So I've actually gotten into this attic, found some blocks, and moved them far enough away to meet code. And so now we have peace of mind that we are safe to move forward. All right, the exhaust vents. On the left here, we've got a 4-inch bath vent, and sometimes these also look like they could be laundry room dryer vent right here. And on the right side, this is actually HVAC or a water heater pipe right here. And these have carbon monoxide and hot air running through them. That's why you see that they have metal straps, okay? And they are at least 1 to 2 inches away from the plywood, and it's not touching because this pipe does get hot and we don't want to create a fire hazard. So this is a great setup right here for both of these, and we want to make sure that you are properly set up before we move forward with any construction on your property. All right, what's next here? We've got the soffit vents. On the left side, you're going to see that we have these 4 or even 6 foot baffles that prevent the insulation from getting clogged and clogging up the possibility for fresh air to get sucked in through the intake of your soffit vents. And a lot of times people have blown in insulation where it can be really bad if you don't have these baffle vents right here. And on the right side, you can see here's the Freon coming from the refrigerant line and the secondary insulated line here that's most of the time made of copper. This is not only passing code because it's at least 2 inches away from the roof deck, but here you can actually see that baffles aren't needed right here. I think this is the garage area where there is no insulation, and you can actually see light coming through. That tells you that the soffit vents aren't clogged, they haven't been painted over too many times, they're breathing properly, and they're actually free to allow in fresh air. So we're excited to know that this attic is ready to move forward with peace of mind and has passed all inspection checks for code compliance and safety regulation. All right. Also in the attic, you've got possible rotted wood. Here on the left side, you've got a dryer vent hose, or you've got a bathroom vent here. And a lot of times this black arrow is pointing to a leak, and it's probably because the flashing above wasn't installed properly, and we may have to replace some plywood. So that is something that we're going to take care of as well through every inspection. All right, diagrams. We want to make sure we convey clear expectations. So on the left side, we have a diagram for the roofers, and making sure that if there's any changes, we want to be clear on what those changes are and where the location of those changes are to be and what the actual product or material is to be installed. And on the right side here, you'll notice we have a separate diagram for the gutter crew to make sure that there is crystal clear clarity on what is going where and what is what. If you have a pool like this Homeowner does here, we want to make sure that we buy a brand new pull tarp or use one that doesn't have any holes in it so that we protect any metal objects like nails or staples getting into your pool and causing damage. All right? So preparation is key. Just like anything in life, the better prep job you do, the easier the work becomes. All right? So we're going to mow the grass to make the cleanup easier. Actually, you're going to mow the grass because that's something that is on your checklist. So if you want to allow us to have a better cleanup, we would like your grass to be a little shorter. If it's wintertime, you probably don't have this problem, but if it is spring or even early summer, you may want to look into seeing when you can mow the lawn. 2-3 days prior to getting your roof worked on would be the most ideal scenario. Next, if you've got little items, clay pots, plants, even solar lights, it'd be best practice to go ahead and walk around the home and remove all of the small stuff that you can easily remove. If there's big stuff that's pretty heavy, we'll go ahead and either protect it for you or move it for you. That's not a problem at all. We just want to make sure that we eliminate any liability of anything accidentally getting stepped on or broken or anything like that. However, if something does happen, just know we always make it right because we care and we want to treat you like we are treating someone from our own family. So just good precaution and some homework and due diligence before we actually start doing a big job of construction on your home, and that way we get the best experience possible for you. Inside the home, you want to remove fragile items that might be hanging on the wall, plates, delicate glass, or anything like that. We don't want something to actually vibrate and possibly slip off and then break. So we want to prevent anything like that because through the actual construction, where people might be loading some bundles of heavy shingles on the roof or something like that, there might be slight vibration on some of the exterior walls of the home. It's very unlikely and rare, but it has happened a few times over a few thousand jobs, so the percentage is low. We just like you to be aware that it is possible for something like this to happen. All right. Material delivery day. We still haven't started the roof yet. We got to deliver the materials. Usually this happens 1 to 2 days before the build. We're either going to load it on the roof like this. We've got our delivery team that comes by with a 40-foot conveyor belt, loads it up on the roof, and strategically places it on load-bearing areas so that your roof doesn't collapse, and we get it installed and loaded the most professional way possible to set our guys up for success when they're ready to show up and start the job. We might actually go ahead and drop the materials on your driveway. Maybe you've got a lot of trees in the way that is blocking the big truck, or maybe it's busy season and the big truck's not always available. We may be forced to drop it on your driveway, and in some markets, there is only driveway delivery drops and there is no roof loads. So depending on your location, your consultant can best advise on what to expect for you, but just know that these are the two possibilities. Once material is delivered, we're going to make sure that someone stops by. Most likely it would be your consultant would stop by to check on the materials that was delivered, take photos and document them to make sure that the right color shows up, the right materials, and we're not short on anything on the job. And on that day is time to get our first down payment. Usually, if this is an insurance job, it might be the first check plus your deductible, or if it's a retail job, it might be half up front, half during completion, or something like that. And so we're going to go ahead and collect material down payment only after the materials have been delivered on your property. So if you're ever signing an agreement with a company or something like that and they're asking for money upon signing an agreement, just know that could be a possible red flag, meaning that they don't have the money to actually float the material or purchase the material before they actually start the job. That just shows that there might be some poor business practice that you may want to be aware of. All right? Okay, now we're getting ready to start your job. This is the build day, okay? We want to move the cars out of the driveway if you're going to be using them for the day. If it might be a 2 or even 3-day job, if it's a more complex project, just make sure that your car is parked out on the street or on a different section of the driveway and further away from the house so that you can come and go freely and there won't be any delay or inconvenience for you during your busy day while we're going and taking care of your home. All right? Once we go ahead and arrive, a roofing crew will arrive. We'll have a dump trailer that is on wheels. Most of the time we take it at the end of the day. Sometimes we like to leave it overnight if possible, just depending on your schedule, if that's okay with you. But we try our best to have really, really clear communication to let you know what to expect and also get your permission on some things that may be delayed or may take some extra time or something like that. We just like to keep up to date and talk and just let each other know what's going on. All right, we may actually have a tent if it's a hot day and you don't have any tree coverage or shade in your yard. It's nice for the guys to provide them some shade and a cooler with some waters and some refreshers. And they may actually be taking some long breaks if it is a hot day. So just know that. If you see our guys lounging around for an hour or 2 hours, if it's 104 degrees outside in August, it might be 3 hours where they might really need that break, okay? So just be aware of that and know that it's a good reason why they are being mandated to take a break, because we don't want any heat exhaustion. We want these guys delivering the best experience and be happy to help you get your roof replaced, all right? Preventative care is really, really important for us. So if you've got some special plants or you've got some little tiny bushes, we want to make sure to protect those as good as possible so that we prevent any possibilities of any plants breaking or getting squished. Little tiny plants that you see on the right, sometimes if that was considered a drop zone, we would actually go and put 5-gallon buckets on top of those plants to make sure that just in case something did fall in that area, that those would be protected as well. The AC units, we cover those so that there's no debris that falls inside and then the fans chop it up and then you blow a motor. We don't want to put a regular tarp over those AC units because we don't want to suffocate them either. They really need to breathe, so we put a breathable tarp over those and make sure those are properly protected. And then again, if you've got a pool like the picture on the right, we're going to go ahead and properly cover that for you to prevent any damages from the pool area. All right, here's just another picture, kind of just showing you what it really could look like. You know, sometimes our nets that we use, I've got to purchase new nets every single year. And so, like in the picture of the right, you might have a setup like this where, hey, oh my gosh, that one net has a hole in it. It's okay. That's just what happens over time. But just know that you're going to be safe and sound. They actually still protect your home, and we make sure of that. But let's just say something fell and a shingle touched the stone on the way off the roof and it created a little tar mark on the stone or on your siding or on the stucco paint. Anything like that, just know we'll catch it on the QC after the job is done. We'll create a punch list for you and we will make it right before we ask for your satisfactory approval, okay? All right. Now we're tearing off the roof, tearing off all the shingles and all the felt underlayment down completely to the decking. Now, if you see here, both of these photos shows multiple layers of felt paper underneath those shingles. Guess what that means? That means that the roofing company before us that installed the roof cut corners. They voided the manufacturer warranty possibly on day one because they did not remove the felt paper all the way down to the decking. We really want to do a good inspection of the plywood to make sure it's smooth, clean, there's no rotted wood, there's no warped areas, there's no possible areas that are a cause of concern or anything like that. So this is what it could look like. It's not always going to look picture magazine perfect. I don't want to pretend that we deliver jobs that have zero debris anywhere. I just want to show you what the real expectations could look like on your property. And this is actually pretty good. You do see some debris that's off of the tarps. Sometimes it's just the paper. It's very light. If it is shingles, usually it's just the tiny little scraps of shingles. So it's not that big of a deal, but letting you know what to expect, right? All right. Now, if we find rotted wood, we're going to document it. We're going to replace it. We're going to show that we replaced it. So when we look back, and if you're not home during the day and you're worried about that, just know that you can log into the link that we provide you, and we're going to upload photos of the job throughout the entire day, and you might actually see us replacing rotted wood and documenting it on your home so that you have peace of mind and know for sure that we did exactly what we said we were going to do. So we not only say it and talk about it, but we actually show proof over promise. All right? Now, once the deck is done being worked on, we want to make sure and blow the entire roof deck off, clean it, make sure it's smooth and workable. All right, now we're going to get started. There's going to be some loud noise. If you have a little doggy or a little cat or maybe a horse or something like that, who knows? I do have some country properties where if the horse is accessible to the house, that could be really dangerous, and we can talk about setting up a barrier or something like that to where we prevent that horse from getting close. But inside the home, a lot of times the little dogs, they've never heard these noises. Sometimes it can sound like a thunderstorm going on. I actually experienced this a few years back. I got my own roof done, and it was the first time I actually got to experience what it truly felt like, and that's why I felt like it was necessary to create a video like this for you. So you may want to just be aware it is going to be noisy. Maybe you want to go out on a shopping day or on a golfing buddy trip or something like that just to get out of the house for a while, at least during, most of the job or half of the job. Usually a full roof replacement takes one really long day, but sometimes it can go into the second day and possibly a third day if it is a more complex job. For commercial projects, those will vary, and your consultant can keep you updated on what to expect on that duration as well. All right, so every once in a while, now this is rare, but nail pops just means when your sheetrock was installed on your house, maybe your house was built in the 80s or the 90s, where they mostly used nails instead of screws. And a lot of times, it might not be fastened as good. One of the nails might be a little loose, and then you get a little vibration during the roof job, and sometimes that little nail pushes through the sheetrock just a little bit, and it pops the little mud that got floated over out. Just know that it's okay. We will come back and make that right, as long as it's not something that was severe that you have going on where it's just waiting to happen and it's been neglected for some time. But if it's minor, like something like this, not a problem. We'll take care of that for you, and we'll add that to our punch list when we're done. All right? Okay, this is just another example of what the tear-off process could look like. You can see the rotted wood on the ground. You can see we're almost done stripping off the back. We're already starting to replace some rotted plywood and such. And so during this time, it is very dangerous to walk outside. During the tear-off on a house this size, maybe it's a 3,500 square foot house, usually the tear-off process is no more than 4 or 5 hours. So just be careful during that time. If you would like to walk outside and watch us work, I would recommend waiting until we're actually done with the tear-off. All right, now we've got after the tear-off phase on the build day where we start adding the new stuff and putting together and building and crafting from scratch your brand new roofing system. All right, we've got ice and water shield. Okay, this is an adhesive membrane. It's super, super thick. We're going to go ahead and install this in all of the valleys, all of the chimneys, around the flashing points, around any penetrations like vents or pipes or anything like that, because this serves as an added layer of protection on the most vulnerable areas where we see the most leaks and rotted wood happening, and we just want to make sure we have extra peace of mind and go the extra mile. It's not a code requirement. You don't have to do something like this, but it is a requirement here at Ark Roofer to go above and beyond when we can. So that's called the Weatherlock mat from Owens Corning. If you're using a different product, it could be called something different, but the universal name is ice and water adhesive membrane. All right, the next thing, In the old pictures, you saw felt paper. Now, a lot of roofs are getting replaced over the years, and so many times we're going to start seeing synthetic underlayment being on the old roof. But we do still find a lot of times where if it's a builder grade roof, they use the old school organic tar felt paper. And that's not truly waterproof. When it gets old and gets aged, it falls into little tiny pieces and gets really brittle and stuff like that. And so we're going to go ahead and upgrade, if not already, to a synthetic underlayment. It's a lot safer for the crew to walk on because it kind of gives it that little rubber finish to it, so it helps them adhere when they're walking on steep applications. It is truly waterproof. Water cannot penetrate through it. And if it does get wet, it does not matter. It's not going to ripple and cause these little humps and waves through your shingles if, it gets wet. Even though when we install it, we should be installing your shingles the same day, so we're not going to leave you hanging and leave you exposed with just underlayment. Unless it's a big job, it might be maybe for one day or so. So, not a big deal, but this is the way that it should look after the roof is getting dried in. The next component that we're going to install is called a drip edge flashing. This is going to go around the entire perimeter of the house, on all of the rakes, and all of the eaves where the gutters would be installed. We install a 4-inch on the top that goes back far enough on the eaves so that the gutters can be installed properly without any funky stuff, humps, or anything going on with the flashing. If it's too small and you're only installing like a 1-inch or a 2-inch, a lot of times it can't grip properly, and a lot of times it can start coming undone and cause little waves at the end of your shingles like that. So we want to make sure to install the best flashing on the most appropriate places, and we're going to have them powder coated to match the color of the roof, unless you would like to match the color of the fascia. Sometimes that's fine too, but these are just some more examples of what that may look like. Okay, now shingles. Before the pretty shingles go up, we've got to install some starter course shingles. And these shingles, just like the drip edge metal flashing, these shingles also go around the entire perimeter of the roof and hang just over the edge, about 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch. And it's going to look like this. And you can see that really, really thick bead of tar on the edge there. And that really thick bead of tar right there. Now, that's going to get activated when it's at least 45 degrees. And now if it's 45 degrees outside, the shingles are probably going to be at least 20 or more degrees warmer than the outside temperature. So not a problem if it is on a chilly day, but it will activate and bond so that the edges of your whole entire roof are properly secured and sealed to prevent any wind from flapping or lifting up any edges of the perimeter of your roof there, to allow wind-driven rain in or any uplift on the shingles. So it seals in and locks the entire roofing system super tight around the entire perimeter. Okay, and after that's all installed, those are the sub-components. Now we can install your beautiful shingle and what you've been looking forward to. This shingle is called Black Sable, made by Owens Corning, and this is a Class 3 hail impact rated designer shingle in the Duration series. This is such a beautiful shingle. I really enjoyed this project here, and these are some of our workers here that have been with us for about 6 years. We're like family. We spend a lot of time with them. We're very familiar with what we expect from each other. We're always challenging each other to do better, and so we really, really do enjoy working with our crews. And just know that we're never going to hire some random crew that we've never worked with before and risk putting them on your job. We vet, we practice, we preach. And so we're going to make sure to use crews that are up to par with Ark Roofer standards, and making sure that we give you that peace of mind. Now, we've got 60-mile rated, wind rated shingles that we never like to install, and I don't even think insurance is actually going to be insuring these 3-tab shingles for much longer, if not already have started that process. But if you're getting a roof from Ark Roofer, just know that you do have a shingle that we will be installing that have hurricane-resistant wind forces of 110 to 130 mile an hour, okay? And we can go over some options with you on the different styles. These are just a few. There's also some luxury styles, some synthetic versions, and some hail-proof versions, along with metal and along with clay and concrete and so forth. So whatever your imagination can think of on what you may like and may want to talk about, we would be really excited to share that with you. All right. Hip and ridge shingles. These are installed on the apex of your roof where all the facets meet together. This is a hip where it's diagonal and the ridge is horizontal. And currently you're looking at a 3-tab shingle installed on the hip and ridge. Now, these are only rated for 60 mile an hour winds, but you see on the field where the facets are, you can actually see that those shingles are laminated. These are 2 layers thick, okay? They're twice the weight, over 100 mile an hour wind warranty. These shingles here are only 1 layer thick. That's why they're only rated for about half the wind rating. So if you really want to get the proper installation of ridge and hip shingles, make sure to have that discussion with your consultant, and you may want to invest a little bit into that so you have the peace of mind knowing that you don't ever have to worry about wind blowing off any of those ridge cap shingles, okay? All right, so now you're looking at the standard, a true hip and ridge shingle. These are actually designed to bend, especially if you have a steep roof or steep application. The other shingles on the last slide are not designed to bend. It's literally a 3-tab shingle. So if you've got a fairly steep roof, eventually those will crack down the center and start deteriorating very, very fast. So invest in the right type of shingles and make sure to have that conversation with your consultant, okay? So that's the hip and ridge shingles. Those were a 110 mile an hour. These are a 130 mile an hour. And then we also have a different hip and ridge called Deco Ridge by Owens Corning. And we also carry hip and ridge shingles in GAF or Certainty or Atlas, whatever brand you want. We do specialize, and we are a platinum contractor, which there is only about 10 or so in the Austin Metroplex area and maybe 20 or so in the Dallas market. But just know that we are a platinum contractor by Owens Corning, and so we have also been vetted by them, not to mention being a true licensed roofing contractor by the Roofing Contractors Association of Texas, and their abbreviated name is ARCAT. And there's about 300 licensed contractors in Texas out of about 20,000. So it's not required, it is voluntary, and it just shows we really do want to go the extra mile and serve you with the best scenario possible. So, next up, we have some penetrations called pipe jacks. These are for plumbing. These are going to go down behind your faucets or your toilets to allow them to breathe, so when you're running your faucet, it's not spitting out air, okay? And these are standard 3-in-1 pipe jacks. Okay, this is what builder grade will install, and here's what it looks like up close, off the roof and on the roof. And then if they are installed on the roof, we go ahead and paint them to match and blend in. The upgraded version of these pipes, this is one of them, it's called a bullet boot. This is not 3 separate components all tied together where you have to have maintenance on them every couple years. These actually do not need maintenance because they're one solid component, all merged in one, okay? And they're made of a thermoplastic material. It feels like rubber with the color of the pipe baked into the material, so the paint's not gonna fade and flake and chip up or whatever, and you don't ever have to repaint them either. So these are a really great solution, and if you have a lot of trees or any debris that falls on your roof, these also come with built-in screens. All right, next, grommet screws. Most contractors fasten all of the penetrations where you see the exposed flashing here at the bottom with nails. What's the problem with nails? Well, nails require maintenance because of the freeze and the thaw freeze cycle. When things get really hot, then they get cold. you have shifting, contraction, and expansion, and then all of a sudden these little nails, they're not threaded like these screws, and so they're going to move. And when they move, they start shifting out, water goes in, they get rusted, and now you have incurred a new leak into the home. So we like to use grommet screws when at all possible, so we will definitely be telling you about these because they do not require maintenance. You do not have to seal them. They come with a rubber grommet on them, and they last about 8 to 10 times longer than a nail would. It's just peace of mind. It's all about peace of mind, peace of mind, peace of mind. You don't want to invest any more time than you already have to, and so get the best, have the best peace of mind. Know for a fact that you're going to be taken care of by someone that is truly reliable, so we don't waste any of your time. Okay? All right. Let's see. What's next here? Ventilation is the next topic. What an important topic. And I know we kind of mentioned the intake and part of the exhaust in the previous slides when we were doing the attic inspection, but we really want to provide a ventilation analysis of how your entire system is operating from what goes in to what goes out. And a lot of times we can reduce your energy bill by doing so. So sometimes there's a way and an opportunity to invest into a lower energy bill every month for the rest of your life, and it also makes your home feel more comfortable. It reduces the stress on your AC unit, and in the end, you save a lot more money that way. And so it's a peace of mind with an ROI on that investment, and we can go over many different options with you that we have. Here's some of the different style intake vents. Some of them might look familiar, and then we have some deck vents for homes. You know, sometimes you get homes that are built really close together, and they don't really have that overhang that the last slide did. And so sometimes the intake has to be installed on the roof closest to the edge, okay? And so these are all different types, and that's why we like to do a ventilation analysis on your roof so that we're all on the same page and we're very clear and confident on how your roof is actually breathing, all right? Now, common types of attic exhaust vents. Now we're on the top of the roof. These vents are going to release heat and moisture. Moisture in the winter, heat during the summer. And from left to right, you've got a regular passive box vent or a Lamanco slant back vent. The second picture is a dome vent or a Butler vent. It's got a little bit bigger hole that allows a little bit more airflow. The third photo is a turbine vent. Now this is one of the best ventilation techniques right here because when the wind blows, it's almost like you have a fan sucking the air out a lot faster than it's being produced, and so you don't have to pay for it. It's not going to be as expensive as like a solar fan would be. Now it doesn't work as good as the solar fans, but it is so much at a discount, and when the wind blows, it creates a similar effect. So I really do like the turbine vents. And then the last photo on the right, that is a ridge vent, where it's a way to kind of camouflage how your roof is operating so you don't really see it. It's not an annoying thing to look at if you just don't like looking at those vents. So next, here we are. We saved the best for the last on this one. We are a certified installer. You can go to atticbreeze.net, type in your zip code. You'll see maybe 2 or 3 certified installers on the website, and you'll see Ark Roofer there at the top. These Attic Breeze solar fans, you might need 1, you might need 2, and in some cases, you might need 3. Very rare to need more than that, but this is probably the best investment that you could do for your future cost savings and your family's comfort in the house. And just know that this has a lifetime warranty. The metal casing on it is thicker than most metal roofs. It's a 22 gauge. It's powder coated to match the color of your shingles. And the actual fan blade is also made of metal. And we're going to see that on some future slides here as well. Very cool. This is the top of the line fan. It's got a built-in screen for any possible rodents or mice or squirrels or anything like that. So it's going to keep the critters out. And it's going to really get that hot air and moisture out really fast. And I really think that this is the best investment that you could possibly look into. And this is how we can develop a system for you after we do our whole analysis to possibly reduce your attic temperature by up to 40 degrees. And think about how much savings that would be every single month for the rest of the life of that home, right? So think about it, consult with your consultant about that, and maybe it's a good fit, maybe it's not. But at least now you know, all right? Now, finishing up after everything's gotten installed, we're gonna finish up. This is some of our crew. These guys, I love these guys. They come to all my Christmas parties. You've got Nino, you've got Abraham, you've got Chewy, you've got Josh Anderson on the very left in the turquoise shirt. He is actually our CEO of Ark Roofer, and he does a really great job running the operations department and running the company in a magnificent way, and he has really helped develop some really great systems and processes here at Ark Roofer. So if you ever see Josh at your job, say hi. And if you ever see any of these guys, our consultant's probably going to introduce you to at least the crew lead or maybe one or two of the guys. They enjoy talking to you. So have fun with them. And just know that they love to have fun because they love what they do. If they're listening to some music on the roof and if they're laughing, just know that that means you're getting a very good install. So don't yell at them for having fun because you don't want that. They want to have fun so that they can be passionate and be prideful of what kind of work they do, and so they can add that to their portfolio. All right? All right. Here's just some more pictures of them on the day-to-day grind. You got some people popping lines and cutting flashings and installing roofs and just really enjoying their day, and we really, really enjoy working with all of these guys. After the roof is installed, we want to make sure, blow off any little tiny pieces of debris or anything like that, and then we'll go ahead and pick up all the trash out of the yard, pick up all the tarps, make everything look pretty again, and then we'll go ahead and do our final walk around and final inspection, and then run the magnets, and we'll talk about that here too. Now, after the job's done, you're probably going to have some leftover materials. I'd rather order more materials than we actually need than not enough so that we don't cause any hiccup or delays, or maybe we're doing your job and we're trying to finish on a Saturday or late on a Friday. And what if we're missing 1 or 2 or 3 bundles and then the supply house is closed? Now we've got to come back 3 days later and finish because of those 2 or 3 bundles that we could have ordered extra just in case. So just know that we're going to go ahead and pick those up. Those are also Ark Roofers. We are planning to order a little extra, so just know that we are ordering them as a preventative approach to have a seamless experience. All right, final inspection. Now, when the roofers get done, they've already cleaned at this point. They've picked up their trash, they ran their magnets, and then within a couple days, we're going to have our QC team come by. They're going to do a whole second round of cleaning all over again. So you'll see here, we actually make them document what they found on the second cleanup so that we know how good the crews are actually doing after they take off at the end of the day when they finish a job. So this is a pretty average amount of what we find after the roofing crews are done and clean. This is pretty good out of 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 staples, nails, metal discs, little tiny debris and stuff like that. They did a pretty good job on this one, and so we didn't really have to pick up too much, and that's always the most ideal scenario. Now at this time, we're going to walk around and do a punch list with you. If you're home, you want to walk around and check everything out. Maybe you see something that you have a question or concern about, or maybe you pointing up there and you're like, what is that little hump on the shingle for? Well, we want to make sure and check that out. Maybe it's normal. Maybe it'll flatten out. Maybe it's a cold day and that's just the way that it was stored in the warehouse. Or maybe there's that little tar mark on the side of your house. We want to make sure to document, write it down on our notes. We may fly a drone over the house as well if it's a pretty steep application there too, to make sure that we can see all the tough spots too, just in case, so that we have that documentation to know that we are doing everything the right way and making sure you are 100% satisfied. All right. After we're done, we might need to get back in the attic. a lot of times these gas pipes, you're going to see one on the left and you're going to see one on the right. And the one on the right goes to a water heater. And a lot of times these water heater pipes that carry hot air and carbon monoxide, if they get knocked off track just a little bit, it can cause a carbon monoxide leak inside of your attic. Now you see how right here, it's shifted just a little bit, but right here it's still aligned, and there's no chance for that hot air or carbon monoxide to escape out here. This gap right here is normal. You want it to be able to breathe right here, okay? So we're gonna check all this. We wanna make sure that it's not touching the wood, and it's 1 to 2 inches away from the wood here, so that you don't have any wood burning. And the metal straps, the other one was super decked out with metal straps. This one is a little bit different style. Now, if we don't see metal straps, we're going to take pictures of it, document it, and let you know that you may need to call your HVAC professional, or we can recommend one to go and install those metal straps for you. Anytime you're dealing with HVAC, a certified licensed HVAC professional really needs to be the one touching that for liability reasons. But we also do our due diligence and make you aware with proper documentation so that you know exactly what you might need to do or might need to be aware of when the time comes, okay? All right, now after the final inspection attic check, what do we have next? We have a quality control team offers a homeowner walkthrough. This was a good friend of ours out in Sun City, Texas, and she was so happy. We did her roof in one day, and after we were done, we walked around together, and she couldn't be more happy. And she's been burned in the past. She's had contractors with bad experiences, and they make these false promises and they don't keep them, and then they run off with their money, and then they don't come back. And it's time to change that. And that's what Ark Roofer is here to do, is make sure to show you that you can still find someone truly reliable that has the utmost respect for your family and your home, who is geared on integrity. So this is just an example of maybe what you're going to see after you walk around the house on how clean we really want to keep it, better than how we found it. So that is the conclusion of the roof install. Okay, and what's next? Well, it depends. I don't know. Maybe you have some gutters that we're going to install. Maybe there's some solar panels that we had to detach. Now we've got to reset them, then recalibrate them, document that, make sure they're working properly on your home app and working properly. Maybe there's some paint work or some siding or rotted wood or anything like that. Ark Roofer does a lot more than just roofs. And so we would say Ark Roofer Plus because it's roofing, gutters, siding, paint, solar, and a few other exterior trades. And that's what we really, really like to do and thrive in, is the home's exterior or the business exterior of the property. Now, if there's an insurance claim on this, it's possible that they may have not caught everything that we caught. So during the job, that's why we document so much. We might have to go ahead and send them some documentation and get realigned with them. And if something changes, that's called a supplement. And sometimes that can cause delays. So if that happens, just know that's why. And you might get a depreciation check if it is an insurance job after we prove that the work has been done and the deductible has been paid in full. And then we've got our final payment. Register your warranty after the payment is taken, and then we can close out the claim and your file. So that concludes our Ark Roofer presentation on what to expect, and thank you for investing your time sitting here and watching this. I really do appreciate that, and I think that you are very, very smart and proactive by investing your time watching a video like this, and I really think that it's going to help eliminate any confusion or possibly even promote some really good questions that you may want to go over with your consultant. So thank you again, guys. God bless you, and we can't wait to see you on your next project. Have a good day. Oh, hey, I almost forgot. Sorry, one more second. If you want to see some other style roofs and maybe some hail-proof options or metal options and some stuff that's gonna be more fun to talk about and possibly get really excited about, I'm gonna either leave a link below, or if it's not here for whatever reason, get on YouTube and search for the Ark Roofer. So that's our handle, and put the little @ sign, and then you type in the Ark Roofer, and then you hit enter, and our whole channel will pop up there on YouTube. And just look for the video. It'll be called, something like fancy roofs or special roofs or upgraded roofs or something like that. And if you want to see what other stuff that we do, and maybe some portfolio and some education about siding or paint or maybe even gutters or something like that, I'm going to have the same opportunity there, and that link might be below. You can already click on here or somewhere on the screen. If not, go visit our channel and you can search for that as well, and maybe some other cool stuff. So thank you again for your support, for you investing the amount of time that you're doing. I think you're going to become a lot smarter and more confident and more comfortable when moving forward to the next step now. So I really applaud you for that, and it is with my utmost pleasure and respect to say thank you very much again, and excited to see you at your next project.